Okay, it is Thursday, February the 25th, 2010, and I'm here underground near 130 Adelaide Street, and I'm to meet with the Judicial Inquiry investigators at 2 o'clock. I've been mentioning the non-compliance of City of Mississauga staff to numerous policies. And, as recently as February the 3rd, I detailed quite a number of them in a deputation.
Now, these are non-compliance. Vendor performance policy assumed abandoned. Internal audit could find no trace of it. Charging interest to non-government organization policy. Info place cash collection policy. That cost the city, over $700,000. And then bylaws, the record retention bylaw. That's confirmed through Freedom of Information and even Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act.
And the city manager, Janice Baker, responded with that she would simply not accept what I had said.
The accusations that she's made about the behavior of staff at the city are extremely serious, and I'm actually quite taken aback by them. But to suggest that there is a callous disregard by the staff of the City of Mississauga for both the responsibilities that we have for care, custody, and control of records, written and electronic, is something that I simply cannot accept. I'm sorry.
So, what happened at yesterday's council meeting was quite remarkable. It was the 2009 Corporate Awards for Excellence that were being handed out, and you would hear leading Canada in management.
Mississauga is continually looked upon as a municipal leader.
Our excellent staff, our excellent commitment to the taxpayer.
To address the needs of all sectors and members of our community.
Fair, trust, quality, and excellence.
They have exemplified our values of trust, quality, and excellence.
And excellence and excellence and more excellence.
Just outstanding. Solves all problems. Brings peace and harmony on all issues he faces.
And, it's a killer when I know what Freedom of Information and the Audit Committee has revealed. And then, more to the point, there was a group of about 6 subcontractors who went before council and detailed their frustration with being paid, or in this case not paid, for work that they'd done by a contractor that was hired by the City of Mississauga.
Very early in the project, we expressed our concerns to the city staff that the sub-trades weren't being paid.
His frustration that there were people really counting on the money and feeling hardship at this point.
To maybe do something to people. This is the face of single parents with kids on disability. They're losing a lot of money here.
Things wouldn't happen. Then he used the word stonewalled on occasion.
Through the Freedom of Information Act, because I was being stonewalled by so many people.
And then what was really interesting was he asked, did the city do due diligence before hiring the contractor?
Through the Freedom of Information Act, because I was being stonewalled by so many people. Through the Freedom of Information Act, I found out the information I do have. I have access to the contract and to his statutory declarations that he was signing. And I also have his references and his resume, which at the least leaves much to be desired. On his projects that he put down as a reference. These are projects that he's been basically kicked off for non-performance, this contractor. He's done projects where there's been liens put on it and he's been asked to leave. And I want to know about the due diligence of hiring this contractor and awarding him this job.
And as soon as I heard the due diligence, I said, I knew about an audit committee just recently where, again, there was issue with contracts. And the audit committee had investigated just how contracts were being handled in the city, and Hazel McCallion brought up some issues where there had been problems with contractors in the past.
We sit down with management as we go through the audit and say exactly what our concerns are so that they have time to address them. And as you can see, by the end of June of this year, 5 of the 7 recommendations will be completed. And also the formal vendor evaluation criteria will be developed by mid-2010.
But on that point,
George.
on that point, There was a procedure set up years ago for vendor recognition. Did you find any trace of it?
It's just an informal vendor performance review right now. It's off thing. It's not being, there's no formal process in there. Now, first thing of all,
There was a policy established that every vendor, and especially on major contracts, that when we had bad experience, and we have had some bad experience, there was a policy established years ago that the vendor would be categorized. And in fact, some would be cut off for future contracts. Did you find no trace of it?
no, it's not.
The answer is no, so
Well, it was set up, I can tell you.
I remember the
Do
discussion.
you remember?
I remember the
Thank you.
discussion.
Some of you have been around a while would remember. It was set up, so obviously it got lost in the shuffle somewhere. Because we ran into some bad examples. And that's when we set up the policy. That's years ago, that's not 10 years ago. Did I do right? At least. So where did that, what happened to it?
There is some mention in the purchasing bylaw where we would be able to, or the purchasing agent has the authority to prevent a bidder from bidding in future contracts, but we have not been able to find any detailed processes relating to what you're talking about.
Okay.
Something that we should look into, I guess, for the future, because I remember the
That's
discussion.
right.
That's what the recommendation is.
I get a little frustrated as mayor that we set up policies and then they're not followed, and that's what bothers me. Because I was in the business, in the private sector, handling millions of dollars of contracts. And it's been something I've been promoting is control of contracts. And that policy was set up because we ran into one that were behind $2 million, I remember. Anyway. So now we're going to set one up, fine.
Yeah.
If we set one up, it better be followed. That is the key. Nobody's setting that up if it's not going to be followed. You know, I don't know why there's such disregard for policy.
Just to conclude, working with Facility and Property Management, we've had a good rapport with them, and I just want to thank you.
The guy that did the renovations at the tower here, I hope he never sees another contract.
Yeah.
Right?
And the one that-
And the one that,
And I'll be honest with you, that's...
no, that was a bad one.
I think that's when it was raised.
Yeah, that
For
one.
And that's a follow-up to this audit, Madam Mayor, and that contractor, again, there's no formal evaluation for those contractors, and that's why we recommended that be formalized and documented.
There was even an evaluation form used many years ago because of our bad experience with contractors. You can see their name top of the game being awarded a contract.
So staff and council drafted and approved a policy that outlined how to go about evaluating a contractor to make sure that the city would be doing this due diligence. And what was interesting is that was never mentioned to the subcontractor who was up there.
I was assured by staff at that time that when they did due diligence, and you questioned the due diligence on page 3, which is I3C of the report you filed, you questioned the due diligence of the city. And Mayor McCallion and I did discuss that with staff yesterday, and we have been assured by staff that they went to 3 of the projects, former projects, that this contractor had undertaken, and they did used as references. And they were similar size projects, and the information that we've received from our facility staff who oversaw the project is that they received good reviews from 2 of them. They weren't able to, I guess, to get hold of the 3rd one, but 2 of them did give good reviews, and we have that review. It doesn't have a lot of detail in it.
So instead, McCallion and Councillor Sato said yes, staff did do due diligence and check things out. And again, once I found out that it was Facilities and Properties Management, again, because I sat in on the audit committee, I know that there have been audits done of that department that describe their record keeping as from adequate to non-existent. And because I researched City of Mississauga corporate security, also part of facilities and properties management, there's a lot of non-existent as well in terms of record keeping. So what's interesting is in front of the cameras, there's this kind of a non-acknowledgement of what happened in the audit committee.